Hello, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, Rabbi, for arranging the day. Just in case you don't know, my name is not Shalom Pearl. We switched it, it didn't work out the right time, so in the spirit of celebrating the birth of this country, nothing works right, so we had to switch over. But Rabbi Shalom will be here at Hashem at 11. So I'm inviting you now to a flight. We're going to Mirza Hashem, sounds a little presumptuous, I know, but we have a flight, so to speak, through the Shiva Rakim. We know that there are 7 heavens. There's a mimer of the Sifsei Chaim, which I'm basing this year on. He explains a medrash quoted by the Orchos Tzadikim. The medrash says, Tshuva is a very great thing. Tshuva goes all the way up to the Kisa Kovod itself. Kisa Kovod is above, is in the 7th heaven, the Shir, the Rukiya Shvi. It says when Moshe Rabbeinu came up to Shamayim to receive the Torah, and this has to do with the upcoming Shavuos, he went through the Shiva Rakim, and every time he was stopped by another group of Malachim, and every time a different group of Malachim taught him something to do with, I would say, to use simple words, things to do with Judaism. Every level of Shamayim, he got a different shir on a different topic to do with life. So the Rakiya Rishon, the first Rakiya, he found groups of Malachim. They opened Sefer Torah, the Koru Maisa Yom Rishon. They read to him the Maisa of Yom Rishon, the creation of the light. And they stopped, and then they started Hitchilu L'Saper B'Shivcha Shel Torah. So the first Rakiya has to do with light and Torah. He came up to the second Rakiya. This is, by the way, just an introduction, because hopefully we'll get to explain each and every Rakiya. The second Rakiya, they mentioned what happened in the second day, which was when the water separated the lower and the upper water. And then they spoke again, Hitchilu L'Saper B'Shivcha Shel Torah V'Shel Yisrael. They spoke again about the Shevach, the milas of Torah and Klal Yisrael. So second day has to do with separation of water, and it has to do with the milah of Yisrael and Torah. Olu L'Shlishi went up to the third Rakiya. So then he found Malachim Kormes Yom Shlishi. Yom Shlishi is V'Sarai Abasha. There was ground, firm ground, there was vegetation. And what's the story of the Yom Shlishi? They were Mesaper in the Shvach of Yerushalayim. We spoke about Yerushalayim. Olu L'Revi went to the fourth heaven, fourth Rakiya. They spoke about the creation of the fourth day, the luminaries, and then they started talking about Mashiach. And we're going to find out, I'm stopping mid the Rakim, we'll have to find out, and that's what Reb Chaim Friedlander does, what's the connection between each and everything. Why, for example, I'm just stopping for a minute, why is Mashiach connected to the luminaries? What's the connection necessarily between the two? Why does Mashiach have to do the sun and the moon more than Mashiach has to do with the water or the Shamayim or the light? Olu Chamishi. So we went to the fifth part, the fifth Rakiya, and again we found Machnas. They were reading the Ma'aseh Bereshis of the fifth day. That's when Hashem created all the sweet creatures and the birds and the reptiles, the creepy crawlies. And Hitchilu L'Saper B'Etzvoneh Shel Gehenim. On the fifth day, when the small creatures are created, there's some kind of internal connection to Gehenna. For some reason, Olu L'Shishi, sixth Rakiya, you have to remember it all, Olu L'Shishi, and he found Malachim again, and we all know what was created in Yom Shishi, the big animals, and Adam and Chava, and what was the story there? The Saper Gan Eden, the opposite of Gehenna. Okay, that's an easy one, because Adam was in Gan Eden. And then the Shvi, we're going to leave for the end. So we have to understand what's the connection. Also, there is a Gemara in a different place, and that's in Psachim. The Gemara says that all these things were created before the world. Before the physical world, all these things were created. Shiva Dvarim Kodma Lo'olam, Torah, Tshuva, Gan Eden, Gehenim, Kisa Kovod, Beis HaMikdash, U'Shmo Shel Mashiach. So I read it quickly, because I want to mislead you. Because really not all 7 things are here. There's one thing that's in Moshe Rabbeinu's list, when he went up to Shemayim, there's one thing that's not mentioned in the list of things that were created before the world, and that is Am Yisrael. We're going to talk about it later, if we have time. So let's start, yeah? Ready, steady, go? Yeah, buckle up, okay? As is traditional, flight start late. So, we're 15 minutes behind, so now you really feel like you're about to fly. So what's the connection between the light and the Torah? That's easy. Or Torah, there's so many yeshivas, or Torah. What does it really mean? What does it really mean when they say the light of Torah? Yeah, it sounds nice, and obviously there's something there, but what's the real deep meaning here? L'havdil also $5, Christians and Muslims, L'havdil also say they saw the light. So what does it mean that the Torah has light? Well, what's going on here? So over here we're talking about the first light, the Or Harishon, the Or Gonuz. When it says in the Mishnah in Avos, the world was created by Asar Ma'amoros. The Kadosh Baruch Hu did not create the world in one go. He didn't just say, poof, let there be world. It would save a lot of time, if you would program it that way, l'chayra. But the Mishnah says no. That the Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted the world to be created in 10 different ma'amaros in order to give schar to the tzaddikim, give oynish to the rishonim, because they are building the world that was created in 10 ma'amaros, and the other ones are ruining the world that was created in 10 ma'amaros. The deeper meaning in that is that Kadosh Baruch Hu, basically, when He created the world in 10 different levels, there are 10 hysterim. There are like 10 dividers between Kadosh Baruch Hu Himself and us. There are 10 different stages of development, and that's why we cannot see Yad Hashem in a way that's very, very, very clear. Of course we can see Him, but it still has to be our choice. There's still room to maneuver, there's still room to make mistakes. And that's exactly what Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted. Because if everybody would have known exactly what the world is about, everyone would have known and seen a Kadosh Baruch Hu in front of their eyes with no mechitzas, if the light of a Kadosh Baruch Hu would have shown it us directly, would be dazzled and blinded by that light, there was no Bechira. And we all know that the reason why Kadosh Baruch Hu created us and put us in this world is for Bechira Chavshis, to give us Sachar. And that's what Mishnah really means. To give Sachar to the Tzaddikim and Oynish to the Rishon is only possible if a Kadosh Baruch Hu is hiding behind 10 mechitzas and makes it look as if there's a lot of causes and effects along the line in a chain reaction. That's when we get the Sachar. And that's why He hid the light. What's the connection? Because that light, that very early light of creation, was not a regular or. Whenever we see or, we see what's going on here. Let's take a guy that has never seen anything to do with Judaism, and he would come to that shul. He wouldn't know what this is about. What's this table about? What are you supposed to do here? Chas v'shalom, no, dancing? What is this? They think that the talis bags are big cushions. They don't even think it's full. A guy came to a bank in Switzerland, and eventually somebody asked him, why do you always go to, after davening, shachris, you go to the bank? Why do you always come to the bank with a cushion? You just woke up? They don't even know it's filled with filling. So they can see it very clearly. Swiss people are very precise, but they don't know the purpose of it. The first light, the Or Harishon, was such light that not only lit the object, but would have let us know exactly what the purpose of the object is. In other words, we would know exactly that when you see a cup of water, it's not here in order to just quench my thirst, it's here in order to make the bracha, or Gual Kan Tikkun Neshamas, very high things. All the hidden secrets of the purpose, why this cup of water is here, would be exposed very clearly by that light. Again, that would basically kill Bechira Chavshis. Because when you see something, or Lahad, will be even worse, or the Chatoim, if somebody knows exactly that this cup of water is just here in order to make a bracha, and he wouldn't make a bracha, the merida, the malchus Hashem, the rebellion against Hashem would be much, much worse. There would be no room for tshuva. It's like so. Therefore, things would be too immediate, too direct, too much in your face, and that's why Hashem had to hide that light. Hashem decided to hide the light in order to say, okay, from now on until the times of Mashiach, although Adam Rishon also had a chance, we'll talk about that later. But Akash Baruch Hu is hiding the light in order to say, okay, people can be misled. I'm giving you later on the Torah, I'll tell you what this cup of water is about, what the Sefer Torah is about, what the Tefillin is about, but you have room to make mistakes and it's your choice. That's why he had to be going as the light. What does it mean he was going as the light? Last time I checked, in this neighborhood, I think there are 2 Mitkanei Gniza. Pesach was here. You know how many times I visited the Mitkanei Gniza? Many. You always think that you cut enough all the Torah from the magazine. No, there's always more. So where did Hashem hide? Gniza means what? To store, to hide in a good place. So where did Hashem, where was he going as? Where did he hide that light? Where? In the Torah. Baruch Hu hid that light in the Torah, mainly in Torah Sinistar, or anybody that's Omel b'Torah, and he gets to very high levels of Torah, to the depth of Torah, he knows exactly what the purpose of the creation is. He knows exactly what everything is created for, and by him, he's above a certain Kudas Bechir already, because he does see the light. Now we see the connection. The connection is light means clarity. The more the person learns Torah, the more the person toils in Torah, deep in Torah, the clearer things are for him, and he's away from Adam Agitchir in Yeshiva, Friedman. He would say people are not in Torah, they live in Olam HaBilbul. Somebody's not exposed to Torah. He has these values, emotions, this guy said that, the guy on the TV said that, my cousin said the other. Decisions are very confused. You don't have the clarity of Torah, or going to a person who has Das Torah, who sees things in a very crystal clear way. That's the connection, clear connection, excuse the pun, between Torah and Or. But there's another connection, there's another one, and here I'm recommending, here's our friend for the flight, Sefer Or Torah. Or Torah was a Sefer written by the Greek Chaver. The Bitzchak Hazik Chaver was a very, very big Mekubal. He wrote very, very deep Sfarim of Kabbalah and beyond. He was also an Av Beis Din at the same time. And this was Talmid HaGro from the School of Thought of the Gro. And this Sefer Or Torah speaks in a beautiful, deep, and poetic way with a lot of quotes about the chashivas of learning Torah. Whenever you feel weak, you're thinking, why am I learning Torah? Whether you learn the whole day, you learn 1 hour a day, the Yitzhar tells you, you could have done something better. You could have planned the next Israeli spaceship. I don't know. You could have done better things for humanity instead of just sitting and learning. If the Yitzhar tells you, just open the Sefer. For me, that's tried and tested. The Sefer gives you amazing insight to the chashivos, to the infinite, unbelievable chashivos of learning Torah. I won't read you the whole thing. Just one thing about another connection between Or and Torah. Did it ever occur to you when we're going to sing tomorrow night, during the day, Shmei Shamayim Eretz V'Yamim? Shmei Shamayim, what's Shmei Shamayim? What's Shmei Shamayim? Okay, maybe it's the 7 heavens we're talking about. Maybe what's Shmei, the heavens of the heavens. Shmei Shamayim Eretz V'Yamim. What's Shmei Shamayim? Says the Or Torah, he says that when a person learns Torah, when a person learns Torah here, Akash Baruch Hu is learning Torah Esek upstairs. The Torah is Hashem's talk. Yeah. This is how the letters are creating the world. Is connecting all the upper lights, whatever that means. The more you mechadish in Torah, the world never stops to be created. The world is created more and more, and there's more higher and higher shamayim that are being created constantly. There's more shamayim, as it says in the pasuk, Kasher hashamayim chadoshim v'aretz chadosh, pasuk in Yeshaya. There's new shamayim and new aretz being created all the time, mainly shamayim. And the more you learn Torah, you help Hakadosh Baruch Hu create worlds over worlds of shamayim, elyonim, very, very amazing things. So Torah is a creator. Now, light was not just the first creation, wasn't just by chance, of course. Light was also the tool Kiviyachal Hakadosh Baruch Hu created the world with. They also say they don't know if light is an energy or like a creation. It's a created or something creating other things or being created. It's really both. In other words, wavelength, energy, whatever. I don't know about these things. But Lamaisa, the Or was something that Hakadosh Baruch Hu created the world with, and so is Torah. The Oisiyas Torah and the Or are both things that Hakadosh Baruch Hu used as tools to create the Torah, to create the world. And when you learn Torah, you're shutaf with the Hakadosh Baruch Hu, just to realize what that means. So now we know why Or is Torah, and it's not just, a nice phrase to say. Okay? Woo, let's go. One Shamayim up. We're to the next station. The second Rakia was Am Yisrael, the Shvach of Am Yisrael, how great is Am Yisrael, but it's really Torah in Am Yisrael, and the separation of water from water. So the Sifsei Chaim says, the Mayim Elyonim and the Mayim Tachtonim, they look alike, maybe they look the same, whatever Mayim Elyonim means, but so too, a Jew and a non-Jew, they can look exactly the same. They can even be twins. One was Megayer, one not Megayer. They can look even same DNA. One's Jewish, one not. What's the difference? Well, the difference is something very hidden, very spiritual. So too is the separation between water and water. So I was still asking myself, why is it dafka b'mayim? Why not anything else? There's difference between one fruit or another, or one animal and the other. Says the Torah, "Lechen yikra mayim, yesh mayim niglim u'mayim nistorim." The letter Aleph. Let's look at the letter Aleph. We'll understand a little bit more what it means. The mayim elyonim and mayim techtonim. So the letter Aleph, the way it's supposed to be written, not like on the Egged buses. So there's really Vav in the middle. There's a Yud and a lower Yud. There's a Yud above the Vav and a Yud below the Vav. So really there are Asara Ma'amaros in the 6 days of creation, which is a Vav. And Vav is also Vav Hachibur, something that connects the letter Vav, or Vav is like a hook. Vav is always connection. You have an upper Yud and a lower Yud. The upper Yud means that whenever there was an Asar Ma'amoros in the lower world, there was also Asar Ma'amoros in the upper world. There's always a parallel between the Ruchni and the Gashmi. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world in two parallel universes. One Ruchni and one Gashmi. And the Ruchni is Mashpia, giving Shefa on the Gashmi. That's why particularly it says about Mayim, everybody knows wherever there's water, there's life, right? Whenever they search for whatever outer space creatures, they say, let's see if we can find water in Mars. Because water always means there's life there. If there's no water, there's no life, like by the desert. So too Mayim means the koyach that gives you life. So the mayim atachtoini means parnasa, also he says, and your parnasa doesn't really come from the lower water, it comes from the upper ones. But also the Torah, he says, b'vchinas mayim elyonim shem nistorim, mayim niglim shem mayim tachtoinim. Yeah, the mayim tachtoinim are the ones that we can see, mayim elyonim are something above there. But Torah gamken yesh nigle v'nistar. Torah also has, Torah is like mayim. Torah is nimshal mayim. Torah is like or, Torah is like mayim, many things. Torah is like mayim because it has the nigla, the part that we can learn and be exposed to in an easier way, more accessible. You have Torah nistar, which is something way above there. They're connected to each other. If you work hard enough in nigla, you learn well and you toil in it, Hashem will also be megal you the secrets of Torah. This is like the cycle of the rain. Your hevel, the breath of your mouth, when you learn, is going upstairs. That brings down the mayim elyonim from above the rakia. So what does that have to do with Jews and non-Jews? I thought, Lanim is Daiti, it says, and again about Shavuos, that Goyim do have a little bit of Chelik in Torah. Because it says when HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave the Torah, then it was mispoitzet, the voice of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in Har Sinai. There was like an echo of that voice that was divided to 70 languages. So the Goyim also got some kind of idea of Torah. They got the echo of it. They got the idea of it. And even some Goyish philosophers or historians, they said, the Jews are the ones who set us the right way, the right path. They are the ones who were the conscience of the world. Unfortunately, Yimach Shemot Hitler also said that that's why he wanted to kill the Jews, because he said they're the ones who make us feel bad, because we brought morals into the world. But Lamaisa, that's the difference between a Jew and a Goy. Torah is the difference. And that's why Torah is mentioned here again. It sounds repetitive. The first part of, on the first day, what did we say? That there is the Ma'ila of Torah. We already said Torah. Again, we're saying in the second time, the second Rakia, Torah and Am Yisrael. Meaning Torah is what divides between us and the Goyim. I just said that the Goyim did get the echo. They got the idea of Torah. They also got the morals of not to kill and not to steal. You didn't know that. But that's only Torah Sanigle. Torah Sanistar, the Mayim Shalamalim in the Shamayim, the real depth of Torah is something the Goy would never ever be able to begin to touch whatsoever. They're not supposed to learn Torah even in Lamazan, definitely not Gemara. But I'm saying the deeper you go, the less connected the Goy is. And this is exactly the difference between us and them. It's a difference between Mayim Elyonim and Mayim Tachtonim. Any good hashpah they have is only something lower. Because really the hashpah comes also from us to them. Just like the Mayim Elyonim are Mashpia on the Tachtonim, so too we are the Mashpia. Well, they are the Mushpah, they are the recipient. Ever thought of the Birkas HaTorah? When do we thank Hashem that we're not going on a daily basis? Asher Baruch Rabbeinu Mikol Ha'amim, That's really the difference. They have everything else. A lot of Americans in the room. Sometimes I read accounts of American goyim how they do chesed. It's true, it says chesed lo mimchatos. I'm amazed. I don't know what to say. The whole community of goyim, in out of town. I don't know about New York, but out of town, the whole community. There was a family. The barn was burnt, or the kid died. And everyone's helping with money and food and this and that. They have a certain level of chesed, which they also learned from us. Ultimately, they didn't learn it from the Greek and the Romans. That's for sure. But Torah is something that goyim don't have. All the new shtiyah, the Bible, the new Bible, the new things are nonsense. They don't have anything that begins to be like the Gemara. Anything that begins, once you scrape the surface, there's nothing else that they have. And this is the mile of Am Yisrael, is Torah itself, b'vchinas ma'am elyonim. Yerushalayim, the third Rakia. Oh, we don't have time. Always have an issue with the time. So the Rakia Shlishi is the firm ground, and Yerushalayim. What's the connection? So let's have a look at sea versus ground, Yam versus Yabasha. Says the Goin and Yoina, we all know the story of Yoina. The Goin says that the Yam represents Olam Hazeh, and Yabasha is Olam Haba. I remember first time I saw it, I was like, what? I had to read it again. I would say the other way, because Yam is less stable. Yam is something that's less Gashmi, so to speak. So I would say it's more like Olam Haba. It's more like, an airy kind of thing. And Olam Hazeh is more ground. No, Afar is more Olam Hazeh. So Baruch Nafshi, which we said long ago, it says two things about the Yam. Both the two psukim start with the word Sham. It says about the Yam, Sham Remes Ve'ein Mispal. Yeah, in the sea, there's a lot of creatures in the sea, all kinds of hidden creatures. We're going to talk about that on Thursday part. And it also says, Sham Onios Yehalechun. The sea is where the ships and the boats, that's where they go. Because before airplanes, we all know, if you want to travel long distance, Aliyah would be just a little bit more difficult when you actually take a boat all the way from New York to Eretz Yisrael. And the sea is a place where you travel. You travel by sea, just like Olam Hazeh is only a journey and nothing else. We're going to talk about the other aspect later. What's the Yabasha? Yabasha is where you have arrived. You've arrived at the Yabasha. Says the GPS, the ways, you got Tel Ayad. You have arrived. Where? By the Yabasha. Which part is most important of the Yabasha? Well, I would say Yerushalayim. Yeah, I wouldn't say Tel Aviv. I'd say Yerushalayim. And let's look at one of the Tilim Kuf Chav Beis. David HaMelech dedicated the entire Perek Kuf Chav Beis only for Yerushalayim. And what does it say there? Our feet would stand in Yerushalayim. Rashi says, wherever we have Jewish soldiers winning the war, it's bizchus the Torah and Korbanos of Yerushalayim. Oim dois. Kis ois leveis David, kis ois lemishpat. That's where we're sitting pretty. In other words, Yerushalayim is a place of stability. The most stable place is Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim le'osid lavoi, much, much, much more. Yerushalayim is a place that you don't travel through. Yerushalayim is where you have arrived. It's the final destination. Beis HaMikdash, you cannot get higher than that in Olam Hazeh. And that's why where HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the Yabasha or revealed the Yabasha, it very much has to do with Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim is the epitome, the pinnacle of the Yabasha, the place which is very much Olam Haba. It's a connecting point between Olam Hazeh, the Korbanos, the blood, into very, very lofty things of Shamayim, and also the Shefa comes from Shamayim to this world through Beis HaMikdash. And therefore, the most Olam Hazeh, Olam Haba, the place is Yerushalayim, and Olam Haba is Yabasha. As it says also, v'hanetzach zo Yerushalayim. What's netzach? Midas netzach. Go through a sphere somewhere. Some of us are into the sphere, some are not. So hanetzach, midas netzach. Netzach means two things. Netzach means eternity. Netzach also means lenatzeach. The one who came out victorious means that he stays for eternity. Yeah, we Jewish people look very weak. We're not as strong as the Goyim, but we're here to stay. Yeah, through all the galus, with all our weaknesses and everything else, we've been battered and bashed, and we are here. That's a real nitzachon. When you're nitzchi, when you're lenetzach, when everybody else falls to the side, and this is exactly Yerushalayim. So that's a third Shabbat. Okay, yeah, I'll make it shorter. We are up to the fourth Rakia, and this is the Mashiach and the Me'oros. Mashiach and the luminaries, Shemesh, Verech, V'chulei. So we all learned at some stage in our lives the very famous medrash, whether at kindergarten or yeshiva later on. We learned that there was this fight between the sun and the moon. It was a covet thing, who's going to run the show. And then what? And then we know what happened to the moon. We can see it every night. V'chulei, v'chulei. But La'asid Lava, it's all going to be nice. La'asid Lava, Lavana, Koracham, Korshivas, v'chulei, and then of course Shivas Me'bereshis. The moon will be, the same level as the sun, all egalitarian, all the same. Maybe that's what they're so much into egalitarian. They're preparing for Mashiach, So the sun and the moon will be the same, but the light of day will be even stronger. The light will be amazing. And it says in the Medrash Rabbah, in two places, in Bereshis and Bamidbar, it says that the one who will bring the Me'oros is Mashiach. So we have to understand that. Is there an internal connection, Dafka, between Mashiach himself? And it says Mashiach ben David, the man, the person. Somehow, when he comes, that's when the Me'oros are going to be equalized and will be shining and bright and all that. So Mashiach will do lots of good things. We're all waiting for Mashiach. Mashiach comes, no more missiles, no more silly song contests, everything works well. No, Mashiach comes, everything's fine. Why Dafka the Me'oros? And why is Mashiach doing the Me'oros? Why not the Kodesh Baruch Hu? So it's like that. Adam Rishon had a chance to bring more light into the world. And remember that light? The light of the Yom Rishon, which we all know was Nignaz. Adam Rishon, if he would have done the right thing, would have been in such a high level that he could have withstand that big light, the strong light. Really, his level of Bechira was much, much higher. Adam Rishon was supposed to reignite the light. Really, it was Adam Rishon's fault for the fact that he sinned. It was his fault that the Me'oros still remained darker. The Levana remained darker, and the light in general is not as clear and amazing as it was supposed to be. It also has to do with Adam Rishon. It was not only a Wednesday fluke, it also happened, so to speak, again. There was a second chance given on Friday, and Adam Rishon, he's the one who missed the chance, and because of him, we have the darkness. And really, it was Chava, that's why she lights candles on Shabbos. He kept her Nero Shel Olam, she extinguished the light, so to speak. That light was gone on Friday when he sinned. Then, when Mashiach is going to come, he's going to be able to fix it. Why? It says that in the future, it says a pasuk, the sun and the moon are going to be ashamed when Mashiach is going to come. They're going to be ashamed. Why are they going to be ashamed? They're going to be ashamed because, unfortunately, they were the subject of Avodah Zarah. Even today, sun, moon, and all these things, the sun and the moon are worshipped very much. They're very common amongst idol worshippers. Listen, it's not our fault, but really it's lo naim, that I was a machshil for all that Avodah Zarah. That too has to do with the Chet of Adam Rishon. The reason why people throughout the generations can make such a silly mistake of Avodah Zarah, and Avodah Zarah means all kinds of things, is because of Chet Adam Harishon and the Nachash. The Nachash is the one who caused the Chet. Nachash is the gematria of Mashiach. It's the same gematria, and it's not just by chance, of course, because the Chet of Nachash, which caused Adam Harishon, and Adam Harishon was so to speak, the source of all the neshamas of the entire humanity. All the neshamas were embedded in Adam Harishon, were included in Adam Harishon. These neshamas, all of us, are now on a lower level where we can be dazzled by sun, moon, and stars, and all kinds of, nowadays stars, stars today are also in all kinds of places, We are dazzled by the nonsense of Olam Hazeh because of the Chet of Nachash in Adam Harishon. Who will be the other person who will be the equivalent and the tikkun for Adam Harishon? Mashiach. That one person, Mashiach, will be the new version of Adam Harishon, so to speak, and he'll be metaken the me'oros. He'll be metaken that funny mistake that we all make, and we believe that Olam Hazeh has a shpah, the moon has a shpah, the sun has a shpah. And it's true, by the way. The Rambam says the sun, moon, and stars do have spiritual shpah, but they're under Kodesh Baruch Hu. The reason why we don't realize that everything really should be attributed to Kodesh Baruch Hu, it should be attributed to sun, moon, or success, or money, or social connection. That's a bit harder, right? That's already, now I'm hitting home. All these things are because of Chet Adam Harishon, and the one person who will correct that will be Mashiach. He'll turn on the light, so to speak, and that's why he'll be the one who will be machzir then to the original good light and the clarity that we all want to have, hopefully. Here comes the fifth one. Gehenim. Gehenim and Shrotzim. So we're back to the sea. We spoke about the sea on Monday, right? The week goes by very quickly. So then, on Monday, a few minutes ago, that's like in outer space. No, they say it's Shabbos every few minutes or so, no? So then, I told you we're in a flight. So, Bereshit, no, whatever. So, what happens now? Again, we're meeting the sea. There are creatures that come from the sea. Also, the ophos, the birds also came from sea. In other words, according to the Meforshim say, the material, the viscosity, whatever, the way they're built also has to do more with water than the animals that feed off the ground directly. The mammals, let's say, are less connected to water, and the birds are. Whatever that means. So we're talking about sea creatures, lemineihem. And again, it has to do now with Gehenim. So what does the sea have to do with Gehenim? We said that the sea is like Olam Hazeh. The sea is like Olam Hazeh. Why? Because the sea Sham on Yos Yalechun. Yeah, you have the ships, the boats go there. Olam Hazeh is only means to an end. It's not an end by itself. It's only a journey. You're supposed to arrive, hopefully, in Yerushalayim, in Kedusha. Very nice. And then what? Fine, that's Olam Hazeh. What is Gehenim? Olam Hazeh is not like Gehenim. Olam Hazeh, don't be so, pessimistic. So there's another pasuk, Sham Remes ve'ein mispar. There's Remes ve'ein mispar. Says the Ben Ish Chai, explaining the Gemara in Erev in Daf Yutes. The Gemara in Erev in Daf Yutes says that there are three openings to Gehenim. There are three places in the world where the door to Gehenim is open there, whatever that means. One of them in the sea, in the Midbar, in the desert, one in the sea, and one in Yerushalayim. So he explains why. He explains the Ben Ish Chai, Midbar is Lashon Dibur. Speech. We said on Leil Pesach, when you speak Lashon Hara in Shtuyot, you don't gain anything. So on Yizdaiti, that's Midbar. Midbar, there's nothing there. Some people like it, I don't know, but there's nothing, there's just sand, and that's it. So nothing really grows there, like the Dibur, that's Dibur Chol, Dibur of Lashon Hara, Dibur that doesn't get you any hana, not even physical pleasure, you're not gaining anything. And in Midbar is the Dibur Ra, and that's a sure way to get to Gehenim. And then, I'll talk about Yerushalayim later. Let's talk about the Yam. Why is the Yam a place where the Gehenim is, so to speak, located? Because the Yam, besides being the place of, transportation, the Yam is also where you have all kinds of sea creatures that are very low. Says the Ben Ish Chai, that the Yam is a place of Taivas. The Yam represents Taiva. Why is Yam representing Taiva? Because it says, Kol necholim eluchim aliyah ve'yamim minenu ma'ala, right? All rivers go to the sea, but the sea never gets full, never gets filled up like Taivas. In other words, if you are about Taiva, Mishiesh Lamonet Roitzam Asayim, right? Yeah? You make something hungry, you make him Saveh, makes more and more hungry for more Taivas, either money or carnal pleasures. It's always more and more. And this is like the sea that always wants more and more. This is a Bechina of Yam, and this is another sure way to get to Gehenim. But really, I think the two things are connected. Because Olam Hazeh is full of Taivas that can be directed the right way. If you're only passing with a boat, that means you have Taiva to make money. What do you mean? I need to support my family. You have Taiva for other things. I have to have a family. I have to have children. What do you want? When Sanhedrin wanted to cancel, right? Cancel, the story, the Yetzer Hara, to Shech the Yetzer Hara from Kodesh HaKadoshim came a whole thing, all very nice, but then they wanted to cancel the Yetzer Hara for Arayis, and no babies were born. Even a chicken couldn't lay an egg, because you have to have children. So those Taivas are really very good, as long as you're passing through them. You use them for higher purpose. But if you make them into an end, but as of itself, by itself, that's Gehenim. That's when Olam Hazeh becomes Gehenim, is when the Taiva becomes an end, a goal as of itself. So really it's both. So again, what does that have to do with the poor creatures? I'm not answering the question, don't let me off the hook. What does that have to do with the third-day creatures, with the sea, the very nice creatures, the fish, what do you want from the lives? No. Explains the Or Chaim, the Kaddish in Bereshis, that he's saying something else about Gilgulim. I'm basing what I'm saying on him. What are animals? Well, they have no neshama. The lower the animal, it doesn't have no nefesh. No bulls, they have nefesh. We see it in Bava Kama. A bull has return. Has anybody ever opened Bava Kama knows that a bull has a choice. He goes him, he goes her, he goes on Friday, he goes mu'ah, not mu'ah, is a bad boy, a good boy. At least he has return. The lower creatures have absolutely no neshama. A person who behaves completely like an animal, and unfortunately today it's declared, he has no ruchnius, he thinks there's no neshama, he's already experiencing Gehenna in Olam Hazeh. He thinks he's having a lot of nice time because he's an evet to his taivas. But a person who's behaving like a sheretz, is behaving like something, a completely non-spiritual entity, creature, that is already Gehenna. In Olam Hazeh, there's all kinds of nice screens, and he could look very nice and friendly, and he has friends, and he has money, he has nice clothes, but this is all a facade. There's a fake facade. It's nothing. He's really Gehenna in Olam Hazeh already. When everything will when his body's going to die and decay, then he ends up in Gehenna by default. So really Gehenna has to do with the shrotzim. It has to do with people that have had no she'ifa whatsoever to anything ruchni. This is Gehenna in Olam Hazeh, and this is represented by somebody who is those creatures and nothing beyond them. Why did the Kodesh Baruch Hu tell the people after the Mabul that they can eat animals? Why did we stop being vegetarian when Noach came out of the ark? And I'll ask you another question: why is vegetarianism so common today? I'm not saying it's good or bad, Baruch Hashem, a lot of Jews are saved from eating treif meat because of it. So maybe that's Ratzon Hashem. I don't know. I'm not saying it's judgmental. It's just interesting, without judging. So many people are vegetarian, and the same people are vegetarian. They can curse the mother and the father. They can do a lot of very unhealthy things and immoral things, but they care about the animals so much. So I'll say it in a way that's a little bit coarse, but I'm basing myself on the Meforshim and Bereshis when we all know the reason why the Mabul started. So when Akash Baruch Hu got Noach out of the ark, he wanted him to correct it. He didn't want to have a repetition of what was going on before. So basically the message in one terse, cut to the chase way is: you see these animals, you eat them, you don't marry them. They used to, sorry, but that's basically what Mephoshim say. In other words, when you're merachim on animals too much, it's because you are like an animal. Because human beings say, what's the difference with an animal or not? They're right. They behave like an animal. Mimela, what's the difference? He's a creature, and I'm a creature. He was here before, they know that. So I'm a trespasser. I'm not even allowed to be here. Our species are ganovim, mechotzofim. Really, the animals are more chashuv than us because they behave like animals. Anybody that has an idea of the Or Torah, anybody that has an idea what a human being is like, the neshama, the Or of the neshama is billion times more than the physical, than anything to do with animals, obviously doesn't fall into that mistake. And that's the message here of Gehenna being with shrotzim. Rakia Shishi. Comes the sixth Rakia. The Rakia Shishi is, okay, that's easy, because it's just the opposite. Rakia Shishi is Adam. Then came Adam Arishon. He was the one created by Kodesh Baruch Hu himself, such high level, not even by the father and the mother. The Rakia Shishi was Gan Eden. That's where he lived, was Gan Eden. What's Gan Eden? Gan Eden is a place where neshama prevails. The more heilig, the more neshamas dik you are in Olam Hazeh, the more you're already living in a Gan Eden. And when your body will just not be there, you go to Gan Eden, you just enjoy Kodesh Baruch Hu even more with no mechitzas. It says by Adam Arishon, again going to the vegetarian scene, not everyone agrees that Adam Arishon was vegetarian. It was a machloikes in the Gemara in Sanhedrin. The Gemara brings down an opinion that says that Adam Arishon ate meat and wine. What kind of meat and wine? So it says, Malocha Ashores, they would be soilin loy basar u'misanin loy yain. What does that mean? They would roast the meat, some kind of very heilige meat, and they would filter the wine. What does it mean? Adam Arishon in Gan Eden before the Chet, even his body was a body which is dak and zach. His body was much, much holier. That's why there's no shame. It could be completely naked because the body was dominated by the soul, not like it is today. So even the food that he ate was already clear, clean, and holy, and out, and had no dirt in it. That's why it says misanin lo yain. They would take the wine and be misanin. Only the finest of the wine, the very pure wine, would be there. There's no dirt there. So I thought maybe also tzoilin loy basar. We all know that by tzliya you don't need to kasher the meat. Maybe a little bit of salt, not more. Because we tzoila, the roast, which we have also a little Pesach, then Why roasting? Roasting means when it's very, very clean, because there's no dirt there. Everything goes out with the process of the tzliya. As opposed to cooking, which is not so clean. The cooking, it's the same water that comes again and again. The same water started here comes back to the meat, and that's why you have to kosher it, because otherwise the blood would come. But the tzliya is something much cleaner, clearer, and purer, and that's what Dafka said, soilin loy basar, doesn't say bevashlin loy basar. So this basar was something very holy, and so was the wine, because Adam Arishon, even his physicality was dominated by spirituality, and that is Gan Eden in Olam Hazeh. Olam Haba, it's pure guf zach and neshama. Oh, so what's Rakia Shvi? Oh, let's go back to the Orchos Tzadikim. What happens on the Rakia Shvi? There are a lot of things happening there. All Shvi, Amatza Ifani, Musafim, Galgalim, Malachi Rachmi, Malachi Chesed, Utzdok, Malachi Reses Vizia. All groups of Malachim are gathering there. That's the height. We're getting there. Yeah. Miyad Ochaz Moshe B'Kisa HaKoved. Moshe held on to Kisa HaKoved. Hitchilu Lukas B'Ma'aseh Yom Shvi Vayachulu. They started reading Vayachulu, what we say every last Shabbos. Upasku v'yitchilu l'saper b'shivcha shel teshuva. And then they were mesaper. They started talking about the Maila, about the beauty of teshuva. Teshuva is the highest thing. L'lamdecha, and this is Orchos Tzadikim in Shar HaTeshuva. And it says teshuva magas ad kisa koved. Teshuva is the highest one. Shenemar teshuva Yisrael ad Hashem Elokecha. So we have to understand what's the connection between Shabbos and Tshuva. And I don't mean the Shabbos between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Why is there a connection between every Shabbos and Tshuva? Why? Maybe Shabbos is connected to many other things. Okay, so it's not a game of words, but first of all, Shabbos and Tshuva, they share letters, right? Okay, Shabbat, Shav, to return. Okay, very nice. But what does it mean? So it says that when you make Kiddush, then your vision gets better, right? When you run, you get 160 less of your vision, whatever, and then when you look at the wine, it comes back. So the deeper meaning of that I've heard from, I don't know who the source is, I heard it from Rav Rosenberg, my wife's uncle. He said a very nice idea. When you run the whole week and you work and you work and you work and you work and you do things and run errands and you take your kids to school and deal with this and that and the other, you run, and yes, we do look like those mice in the wheel, yes. So then comes Shabbos. Shabbos tells us, don't get blinded. Don't think that life is just about running around, and don't think that your work is really what brings you the money, and don't think that your shtadlus does anything. You stop doing almost anything on Shabbos. You let go and let God, as they say. You bring Hashem into the picture. You lay back, you look at the wine, and you say, now I'm getting the clarity back. Shabbos, the real meaning of Shabbos is what? Is having the right perspective on everything else that happened before, and everything else that will happen in the week to come. We all know, yet Shtei Shabbosos, 2 Shabbosos, is because Shtei Shabbosos, Mashiach is going to come if we all keep Shtei Shabbosos, because every Shabbos is influenced by the previous week and is influencing the week to come, the following, the next week. So 2 Shabbosos are really locking within them one complete week, which is completely Kaddish and with the right vision. So Shabbos means really that everything else before and everything else around are being looked at in the right perspective. That's Shabbos. And what is Tshuva? Well, we would say Tshuva means I did an Avera, I'm sorry. Mezi Chagin, I'm sorry I did the Avera. And I cry to Hashem and He forgives me and we start a clean slate. But it's much more than that. Because you know that when it comes about Tshuva Me'ava, what does it say? That all the Averas become Zchuyas. All the Averas, they become the Zchuyas. Why is it if I do Tshuva Me'ava, then all the wrongdoings, all the Averas become Zchuyas? Well, why is that so? It's very nice of Hashem to, forgive, forget, and just go on. But why is it the Zchus? So yesterday, this year should be for the refuah of Yecheskel ben Feigot Tzipora. I should have mentioned before, there's an Avrech here in the neighborhood who was just diagnosed, and yesterday there was an Atzeres Tefillah, and a lot of people were saying Tehillim. And I was thinking that this young man should be healthy very quickly. He has such tremendous chus that, over 100 people, I think, got together last night, especially, and everyone was saying Tehillim with a lot of kavanah, a lot of real energy there. So nobody wants chas v'shalom chalila to have such disease or anything like it, chalila. But you see that sometimes for something so terrible, and hopefully he'll be well, something very good can happen. Otherwise, wouldn't. Would we go and just say Tilim Bislavis Atzuma just out of nowhere? Halavai. But no, that's not their chayil. People don't just get together and start saying Tilim, such enthusiasm. But this person being sick, which is a terrible thing, actually caused something very, very good to happen. The same thing happens when a person does a virus. A person's been through life, let's say did real terrible things. So nobody says it's good. But when the person does tshuva me'ava, that process of tshuva and crying and getting close to Hashem is way closer to Hashem if he wouldn't have done the Averis. Yeah? He was an average guy. He wasn't doing any major Avera, any major mitzvah. He just went, going through the motions. Once he did the terrible Avera, I actually know a person that happened to him, whatever. He did terrible Avera, made a complete switch. I'm hitting rock bottom, I gotta change. And now the closeness to Hashem is way, way more. I remember our teacher in school, when I was in Kita Aleph, I think, was a female teacher. She don't tell anyone. Yeah, so it was a Haredi school, but we had female teachers at Kita Aleph based. Yeah. So then she said, when a person does tshuva, this is confidential. So she said, when two friends, when you cut a rope, when you cut a rope, two pieces of rope. Now you want to reconnect it. What do? You tie it. So now it's closer. The two ends of the rope are now closer to each other because the knot takes space. Right? So now the two ends were maybe a meter away, now they're only, 3/4 meter away. So now that you're closer to Hashem, you really are much closer. So really, all those Averas were really a jumping board to be closer to Hashem. So this is again like Shabbos. Just like Shabbos shows us the right perspective, and really everything else I did the entire last week, that work, that thing, it was good, but it was just part of a much bigger picture. Really, it's about Shabbos. So too is tshuva. You get Kirvas Elokim through everything else that you did. I still owe you, before we're landing. Yeah, no, but he didn't come yet, so, so, what? Is he? I don't know. So I still owe you, I owe you. There is one difference between the two midrashim. Remember, the first midrash was saying, all items that we mentioned. What did we mention? We mentioned the Torah, Am Yisrael, right? What was, the Am Yisrael. Then we mentioned the third day Beis HaMikdash, Mashiach, Gehenim and Gan Eden, and then we said Tshuva. And what's missing? Well, here we have Am Yisrael. The one that's mentioned in the Gemara in Pesachim is Kisa Kovod. So Kisa Kovod appears before the Bria, and Am Yisrael, they appear when Moshe Rabbeinu comes to accept the Torah, which is like a second Bria. We all know that the Aseres Adibros and the Aseres Hamakas were like a new creation all over again. Because before the world was created, what was Kisa Kovod? Kisa Kovod, of course. Kisa Kovod is a place where we know HaKadosh Baruch Hu has covered. What happened once Am Yisrael were in the scene, we're about to get the Torah? Then not instead of Kisa Kovod, but the real Kisa Kovod is Am Yisrael themselves. We are Kisa Kovod. When we're Mikadosh Shem Shamayim Barabim, the Rav was saying people come to learn Torah using the day off, or any Kiddush Hashem that's done, that is Kisa Kovod. Whenever you say Shema Yisrael, you do mitzvah, you learn Torah, you do anything like that, that is by itself giving Kovod to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tnu Oz LeElokim. That power was given to us in the time of Yitzias Mitzrayim, Matan Torah. We are Kisa Kovod. So we should realize, Baruch Hashem, the koich that we have, the koich of Torah, the koich of Tefillah, the koich of Tzedakah, everything that we have, all these beautiful matanos, the Moshe Rabbeinu got, mainly the matan of Torah, is a way to be Mechabed Shem Shamayim, Mekadosh Shem Shamayim, may we be Zoichet, Mekadosh Shem Shamayim Barabim. Thank you very much.